Legito will help you manage the lifecycle of contracts and other documents, automate document drafting, efficiently build custom applications, collaborate, negotiate contracts, digitally sign documents, and improve your performance. Each Legito component works together seamlessly to provide a powerful solution. Legito is a no-code, enterprise-ready, and fully customizable platform. Let's get started with a quick high-level overview. Legito Document Lifecycle Management will let your organization easily create document workflows. Legito will make sure that everybody follows the correct process. That includes internal and external sharing, approvals, document changes, and reminders. Document drafting automation allows your experts to efficiently build your templates using Legito's unique AI-powered template editor that suggests logical dependencies. Selections and inputs may be created contextually inside Legito Smart Documents. Data from Legito Smart Documents are automatically extracted. Legito Objects is a rapid, out-of-the-box way to build customized applications that meet your business needs. Increase your automating power exponentially by creating objects such as client and vendor management lists, tailor-made case management tools, property reports, customizable knowledge repositories, and countless other possibilities. Use your Legito Workspace to collaborate and negotiate either Legito Smart Documents or Microsoft Office documents. Legito has all the features you would expect. Track changes, compare, comments, real-time conversations, notifications, and so much more. Use LegitoSign embedded into your Legito Workspace to digitally sign contracts and other documents with your counterparties. Additional e-signature providers such as Adobe Sign or DocuSign are also integrated to your workspace. Legito tracks all events and actions in your workspace, as well as all choices and data in Legito Smart Documents. Legito then analyzes this structured and categorized data to give you valuable insights into your documents, projects, and processes. Legito is more than software. Once you sign up with Legito, you're joining a community. We want you to get the most out of your investment. We offer additional resources free of charge to help you get better acquainted with top tips and tricks to utilize Legito's robust products and achieve more with Legito thanks to industry insights and best practice advice. Our step-by-step interactive courses will educate you quickly to become a Legito Power user, and our categorized and detailed knowledge base will empower you to confidently tackle any situation. Let's connect to explore how Legito can help you achieve more and reach your goals faster.
I'm Mark Settle. I'm the president of Legito in North America, and I'm excited to share a little bit with you today about what's been new and released in Legito this year in 2023. So just a couple of housekeeping items before we jump into things. First of all, we're trying a new technology for our webinar today, so a little bit different than we've done it in the past. So if you've joined previous webinars, we're now using Microsoft Teams. There is a Q&A panel in Microsoft Teams for questions. I'm going to do my best to go to those questions more at the end of the webinar today because it's a little bit of a distraction to look at them at the same time. So I'll keep those more towards the end of the presentation, but I will try to go through and answer some of those questions. Secondly, as well, this is a webinar that is really focused on specific features. So if you are new to Legito, I highly recommend you go look at some of our past webinars or our video on our website that will give you an introduction to Legito, because I'm not going to give a broader demonstration of Legito today. I'm going to be demonstrating very specific features inside of Legito. So definitely recommend you will be able to follow along today if you're new to Legito, but I also recommend you go look at an overview. All right, so before we jump right in, if you are new to Legito, let's just give you just a brief overview of who we are. So we are a smart document application. So we allow you to take documents you use within your business or other processes that you use within your business and automate them with a nice low code, no code platform. So this will allow you to do things like templating, build smart documents that will logic and rules built into them, manage the lifecycle around that, manage the workflows, the signature process, the approvals that need to happen, But also we have custom objects that allow you to do a little bit of custom application building as well, so that you can manage some of the process flow around more than just documents if needed. And you can see just a few of our customers here on the screen. So what I want to do today is dive into some new features that were released in this year. So I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning of the year and discuss some of the ones that were released early in the year, as well as some of the more recent features as well. So the first thing I want to show you is the onboarding module. Now, this was released in early 2023 and has continued to be updated throughout the year, and will always continue to be updated as we change and adjust the software. So this is a great new module that provides a workspace or administrator and a user onboarding module. So this will allow you to go through some specific steps to get you familiar with the application or set it up and configure it if you're an administrator. The administrator actually has some controls and ability to control what the user sees in the user module. And like I mentioned, this is being continuously updated by us as well to try to make sure we're helping our customers be self-proficient in the solution. So let's just take a look. So I'm going to do a lot of switching back and forth to my browser from a presentation today while we walk through some of these items. So let's take a look at the onboarding module. So we're going to go to my browser here. So I'm logged into a workspace as an administrator in this case. So you can see here that I've got a module right on my dashboard. So when I first log in, this is available to me. You can see right away it says get to know Legito, and it's got 5 steps. I can go through each of these steps. It tells me roughly how long each of these steps will take. We'll just skip that step and mark it as done. And you can see I can actually walk through these things. It will do things like walking me through making sure I choose my customization, the logo that I'm going to add to my workspace, the color, customizing my account, inviting other colleagues, and then actually lets me go through different modules for, okay, if I want to build some custom applications in Legito, how do I do that? Give me an overview and walk me through building my first object. So this really gives the users some ability to have some onboarding that helps them become familiar with the system right away. You can always go to the knowledge base and to other help solutions and get some of that information, but here it puts it right at your fingertips, allows you to view it. I'm going to switch really quickly to Edge to show you what this looks like from a user perspective. So now I'm logged into the same workspace, but it's just an end user. And you can see when they log in, they get a simplified onboarding here as well. That's got a few different steps, and it's on the dashboard, and it can be hidden if they choose not to, but it can walk them through things like, creating their account, watching a video about Legito as an overview, a guided tour, both a quick one and a full guided tour, exploring some of the resources that are available to them, as well as personalizing their account, setting up their profile photo, position within the business, etc. So again, workflow or the onboarding for the user is a little bit different than an administrator, a little bit tighter, a little bit simpler because they don't need as much information about getting started because they're basically just creating documents and walking through. So this makes it very easy for them to understand what's available to them. We're going to switch back to our admin here. And what I want to show you as well is this administrator can actually make some changes to the onboarding. So there's an onboarding section. As the administrator, they can actually choose what shows up in that user onboarding. So they can choose whether or not onboarding is on and which of those nodes actually shows up in the user onboarding. So maybe they don't want to have the full guided tour, they only want the quick or vice versa. And then you can see there was that watch video that lets you watch a specific video. An administrator can actually embed their own video. So you can create your own help content to be able to link the user to your own content, both for the video and for the help resources. So if you want to provide some of your own help resources documentation to your users inside of Legito, you can do that in the onboarding module. So great new feature, help both the administrators and the users be onboarded in Legito. Let's go back to our deck. So next, this is a feature that was released this summer, PDF templates. So very exciting new feature is a whole new template type available to you inside of Legito. So what this allows you to do is easily create templates from fillable PDFs. So you can map any of the tagged input values from other forms or templates in Legito into your PDF template. It works right inside of the template editor in Legito. It attaches a filled PDF when it's completed, and that PDF that gets filled by Legito is actually downloadable and still fillable. So if it had fillable fields in it before it was uploaded, those fillable fields will be there when it's downloaded as well with the data that was provided from Legito. So you can still make adjustments and edits if necessary. So great new feature to allow you to use PDFs inside of your Legito application. So let's take a look at that. So what we're going to do is we'll go to our dashboard here. Again, I'm logged in as administrator. Since we've looked at this, we're just going to hide this from our dashboard so we no longer have to see the onboarding. And you can see here I've got a couple of templates here that are this UCC1 form. For those outside the US, you may not be as familiar with this, but it's a financial institution document that's very common around banking and lending and other things. So what I've done is I've created a UCC1 PDF template. So I'm going to show you the completed process first. So I'll actually open up an existing document I've created with this PDF and show you how that's attached. And then we'll actually look at the template itself. We'll create one and we'll show you how that mapping is done. So I'm going to open up an existing document you can see here that I've already created. Go ahead and click edit. And you can see this is a standard Legito document. So I go into the document editor. I've got an input form that's got various fields in it that are needed for that PDF document. In fact, what I didn't do, let's bring that up really quickly, is we'll actually look at that form. So before you actually see this get downloaded, here's the PDF form that I started with. And you can see here, it's got fillable fields for the debtor, second debtor if necessary, a secured party, and some other things like checkboxes and such below. So this is the form that it's going to generate that I've uploaded with this template. And so as a user, I created this input form for the user to complete that will pass the data into those input fields. So as a user, I would just come through and type in this information. And then what happens is available and download here as an attachment, or when I click the download link, it will also be here under attachments, will be the filled PDF file for me to download as a user. So if I download this, open it up, you can see here is fillable PDF, and you can see I have my fillable fields here available to me still, but with the data that was passed through from the input form in Legito. So the information that's filled out in that input form are mapped into these specific fields in this document. So let's take a look at how that's put together, how easy it is to do. Sorry, to my wrong window here. So let's go back here. All right, so let's go ahead. Too many Legito windows open. This one. Oh, I closed it, didn't I? Close my window. There we go. So let's go into that template and take a look at it. So we're going to go ahead and look at creating it, and then we'll look at the completed document. So I created this sample template here that only has the input form. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and open that for edit. And you can see I've got an input form here already. I'll just open that up and show it to you briefly, and then we'll create a template. So here you can see I've got an input form in Legito standard, Legito form. Nothing too special about this. I just want to point out one thing. The way that data flows from this input form in Legito into the fillable fields in the PDF document is via tags. So you simply have to make sure tags are added to the input fields so that you can then apply those tags to the input fields in PDF. So if I click in this organization field here, you can see I've got a tag applied called debtor org name. If I click in the surname here, then I have debtor surname, then first name, then address. So I've got tags applied to all these input fields that I'll then be able to apply in my PDF. So let's just create that PDF so you can see how easy that is to upload. And get this out of my way. All right, so we'll go new PDF template. And we'll call it UCC1. I just need to choose that PDF document, and I've got it here in a folder. So we're just going to drag and drop it in, and we'll say create. And that is going to take me right into the template, or sorry, the template suite administration settings with that template now, and now I can edit that, which will take me right into the template editor for this template. Now, the first page is an instructional page. Let's get to the second page. And you can see here that it's already imported all of those fillable fields that existed in this document already. So what I would need to do then is just simply tag those fields. So let's just do the debtor org name since we looked at that one. Click in that, and you can see right away I get the ability to add a tag. I can click in this field, it drops down and shows me available tags that I've created in this template. So I can just go through and find, I can either scroll through or I can start typing debtor, and I'll get debtor org name, and I can tag that. So just like that, I'm just going to go through and tag these fields. So you can see a green field here lets me know tag's been applied, so I can really know very easily if we've created that. So we'll go ahead and just save this. We're not going to work with this. Get this Teams thing out of my way. All right. There it goes. Sorry, I have that Teams sharing thing I could get out of my way. All right, so now let's open up the completed one. I'll take a quick look at how those tags look in a completed fashion. So here you can see I've applied all of the tags. If we click in these fields, you can see there's tags applied to all of these to get the information to come through. I did want to point out some of these checkboxes down below just so you can see how that works. Checkboxes in a fillable PDF are typically grouped together. So these happen to be grouped together because it's check one only. And so Legito can pick up that functionality. You can see when I click in this, I can apply a tag, collateral holding, which I actually have linked to a select, a drop down that has various options. I could link it to other types as well. But you can see it gives me some notes here, 1 and 2, to let me know the numbering of those checkboxes. And then I can set the extraction keywords here to match my select options so that it will automatically tick the box based on the select options entered. So I have this ability to even map drop-down lists in the Legito form or template to these checkboxes or other field types in the PDF form as necessary. So it really gives me some flexibility to automatically generate these forms, maybe as a part of a broader package. So maybe I'm working on a broader financial package. I need a UCC1 form. I can just add it in there and pass in the data that I'm already collecting as a part of my loan documentation. So great new feature to be used within Legito, a new template type of PDF. Let's go back to our show. Move on to our next new feature. All right, so we added some additional functionality to LegitoSign, and there will continue to be some additional updates to LegitoSign in the future, I'm sure. But this was a nice new handy feature to automatically create certain signature fields for a user when they're completing the document. So what this would allow you to do is set placeholders so that it will automatically add in a field for, say, the signature date or the title or name of the person signing the document if you don't have that information when you send it out, so that they can actually complete that information. So I've actually put together a small example of this. We'll look at it in the template, and then we'll look at it, how it comes out for the end user. So what I'm going to do is go back to my workspace here. So I've got a contractor agreement example template here. We'll open this up for edit. We'll open up the contractor agreement. All right, so if I scroll down to the very end here, I'm going to go to the signature block area just so you can see it. Load all up. I should have had some collapse nodes on here, but I didn't. So scroll through that as it loads up. All right, so here I've got a signature block. You can see I'm actually varying the signature block. It's conditional based on whether they're an individual or a business. So if they're a business, I'm going to get business name, and then I'm going to have to put in a name and title of the person signing. If they're an individual, maybe I put in just their name. Probably should have had a date line for that personal. But you can see here it's got that information. Now, it looks like there's nothing here yet, because these signature placeholders need to be actual text in the document. The best way to do them is with white text. So if I actually mouse over here, you can see and click into this field. There's actually a field here that's got some text in it. So there's my typical signature placeholder. So this already existed within LegitoSign prior to the updates. But now I've got these additional placeholders for where the name needs to go, the title needs to go, the date needs to go for these users. So let's fill out one of these documents and see how those affect things in LegitoSign. So we'll go ahead and close this. I'm going to use an example that I've already created. So let's type in information. We've got this Jacqueline Thompson and Legito. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just move this into the signing stage. And we'll go ahead and start signing this. So I'm going to sign it with LegitoSign. And let's say I know these two parties. I'm just going to put in my email address here. I'll put me. And we'll send this. So now this takes us to the actual, signature creation process. And so similar, if you're new to LegitoSign, you haven't seen it before, just like in DocuSign or Adobe Sign, when you create that signature envelope, you need to add in your signature fields. Well, I may not have known what date things were going to be signed, and who it's going to be signed by for corporations. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down to the signature block. And you can see here that Jacqueline Thompson was an individual, so it brought in their signature block, but I'm signing on behalf of Legito. And where those placeholders were, it actually created a signature line for me, but it also put in my name, put in a title and date field for me. So I don't have to manually drag those in and create those. It can go right out. And actually everything's ready here. So I can just click start signing and send this, and it's on its way. In the past, I'd have to drag in some input fields for those if I didn't have that information to fill that out in the Legito document. And that's pretty common, right? That a user is not going to have that information at the time they're filling it out in Legito, but they may have it when they're sending it for signature. So if I say start signing, this will send this, but I'm actually going to go through the signature process. So great new feature there to allow you to have some of those preset fields determined, so you can to drag them in, save you time in sending those signature packages out in LegitoSign. Right. So just a few additional template features that I want to show or talk about, and I'll show a couple of them. But there have been various things added, more than these 5 things, I think, but these are just 5 that I chose to highlight. A couple of things around styling that we've worked on. You can now duplicate styles easily in the style management section. You can also set a default style. That's very useful. That means any new article or clause that's dragged into a Legito template will use that default style. So that used to be a little dependent on what clause you were dragging in, whether it's paragraph or subparagraph or point. Now that you can set a default style to be used for those items. You can easily duplicate clauses or elements in the template editor. So a bit of a copy for a single item. And then there's also some things we've added around users and scripting. So there is a user-specific custom data field for users. This is really more useful for SSO or other types of integrations. You can now add in some kind of custom data associated with a user inside of Legito so that you can gather that information. It's available via the scripts as well as the API. And so with that, there's now a new object in Legito scripts to get the current user's information as well. We got a nice little, that might be really useful in certain use cases. We'll talk about that when we toggle over and look at it in just a moment. In fact, let's look at that one first, and then we'll look at some of the styles and duplication items as well. So you can see I've got a template here called script to get user information. If I open this template and just say create, you can see a very simple template I created. There's a script in the background that's going to run when I click this button. And all it's doing is using that new system object that's released to get my information as it is in the system. So you can see it can set that on. So there's just a script running here. I'm not going to go into the script. But the reason this is useful is in the past, you'd require the user to maybe type in their own name or type in their own email address as a part of some information in a document. Well, now that could be preset in a template based on a script, so that the user doesn't have to fill in their own information as it's used in the system. It could be really useful for setting some specific document record properties and doing other information as well. So that's been added into our scripting API. I'm logged in as an administrator here, so I can see users, I wanted to just show you here. If I edit my user, scroll to the bottom, here's that custom data field. You can put any kind of data in here. We've used this recently with a test to put in some JSON data to actually a number of input data fields could be extracted at some point to get information about the user. So allow you to fill in quite a bit of additional data for a user if necessary. This custom data in the system. Now let's look at that style duplication very quickly. These are pretty self-explanatory, not a lot to duplicate, but you can see to demonstrate. But you can see here, this is my default style that I've set. I can set any style as the default by just clicking a button, and it just confirms that with me, and it will move that default style. So we'll leave it as that one. And then I can duplicate any style, and that's going to just create a copy and open it up for me. So if I say duplicate, I get a copy of that style open up in the style editor in Legito, and I can easily make any adjustments that I need. So if I've got kind of one-off styles where I need to just tweak a few things, I no longer have to recreate those styles. I can make a copy of the old style and open it up. And just for fun, because duplicate is very handy for template authors, let's just go into a template and we'll be an example. So we'll just use the input form for this UCC one. So we'll open that up. So the new duplicate feature is in any of the context menu for a specific item. So if I want to copy this element, I can just say duplicate and it creates a new one for me. Me2. If I want to copy this whole clause, I can just say duplicate and that whole clause is duplicated down below. So I can copy whole sections. In fact, the way I created this template was I created this debtor information and then I made a copy of it down here. And then I just added my logic and changed the information as necessary if needed. So it really makes some of the template authoring a lot faster to easily duplicate any item that you select inside of the template editor. Right. Leave that alone. We don't want to save those changes. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about some of the updates around objects and workflows. As part of a low code, no code process management solution, objects are critical to that. So as we continue to add to the object suite of properties, we've added some new things to that. We've added the ability to save files to an object. So now you can create objects and actually have a list of files that are attached to those objects. So it's starting to look a lot more like a document record where you can have save files on a document record. Now on an object record, you can also have save files and you can utilize your workflow. I also can customize that object create button. That's really handy for people who are creating objects. It no longer would say create object, or I can't remember even what the old language is because usually you set it to something very specific now. You can rename workflows and you can set the workflow for a drop area widget. And I'm going to show you these and so you can see a little bit of the benefit of each of these as well. So let's take a look. Go back to our Chrome instance. So let's look at objects first. So I've created a custom object in here called projects. Just a really simple one. Let's suppose you were managing projects inside of Legito and you wanted to have a certain set of input fields for that. So the first thing you can see here is it says add project. It doesn't say add object. So I've customized that button with that new feature to say add project. And if I expand one of these projects, you can see here that I've got a set of saved files. And I can actually upload any file I want to this. I've already uploaded an Excel file. If I choose, we'll just put this UCC1 PDF in there. And so each of those files gets uploaded. And if you haven't used this feature or functionality in document records yet, you can see here, when I have a file there, I can download it, I can rename it, and I can actually upload a new version. So these files are actually versioned. So if at some later point, I've got an updated version of this contract that I want to upload to this project in my projects, I can upload it not as a separate file, but I can actually upload it as a new version to that file, and it will store each of those versions. So if I say upload new version, and grab, this can be the same file for both versions, but if I just do that, you'll see now that I've got two versions, and I can actually view those versions, and I can see and download each version. I can see when it was uploaded by who, and I can download it. So this new save files really lets you build something out like this. I would think if you were working with projects, you might want to have your project plan linked in here. You might want to have some of your actual project documentation. So say if I was doing a financial software implementation, I might actually attach in a contract or some statements of work with some services that I'm working with and some other things into this object. And again, objects have already been able to have workflow, so I can actually have work objects in different stages to really help me kind of manage some specific processes within my business. And the features that were already here, but just worth pointing out, you have very uh, varied types of properties that you can add in. So you have your save files property, but you can also add in things like user selection to allow you to select users from the site, dates, financial values. You can actually link to Legito documents as well. So if I wanted to link in that contract agreement that we just did, I can link that in as well. So that's a little bit different than an attached file. That's actually linking to a Legito document that I can then click and go and record and make some minutes. So I can really start to build out a very customized object record that will help me manage a process within the system. So great new feature, then this customizable button there as well. Now let's look at workflow changes. Just a couple of things very quickly that I had on the screen there. One was the ability to rename workflows. I don't think I'll show that. You can change the name to a workflow. I'm going to go to my dashboard. The other thing that is quite nice is in your drop areas, you can set a specific workflow. So maybe I want my default workflow for new Legito documents to follow a specific process, but in a certain drop area in my dashboard, maybe it's in a specific section, I want a different workflow utilized for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down and click Customize Dashboard and click Edit on this drop area. And you can see here, this is the new feature. I can add a specific workflow. So you can see here, I've got two different workflows in the site, and the default workflow is that assigned workflow. For this drop area, I've got it set to this third-party contract. So with that, if I upload a document, let's put this NDA here. You can see this is a different workflow by the color. So you can also see the stages are different. So it's using that third-party workflow versus the workflow that these documents are using, which is that assigned workflow. So it gives you some flexibility in having different drop areas, maybe in different areas of your dashboard that will allow you to drop in documents to use a different workflow. Quite a handy feature. All right. So just a few more items to show, and then we'll take some questions if there are any, and we'll look at kind of what's coming soon as well that's not already released that are upcoming features. But this is something that's kind of in a beta that we're working with, and I wanted to talk about it really just to show you that we are looking into AI and how we can leverage the abilities of AI inside of Legito. And so we have a nice prototype of a ChatGPT integration into Legito to extract metadata from a document. So this will allow you to upload any document into this Legito workspace. The AI scans the document and automatically extracts data into the document record properties. So let's actually do it. So we'll go to the workflow workspace that I opened it accidentally previously. We've got this workspace here. It's basically got almost nothing in it, but this has got that AI running behind it. So I've got an existing document here. I'm going to grab this NDA here for Blue Sky. So if you watch one of our previous webinars, we did a webinar with Innate, and this is their NDA that used with their permission. So if I open this up right now, you can see it uploaded the document with a normal process like Legito would and attach it to the document record, but nothing's filled out here. It'll take it just a second for the AI to process this. So what's happening is the AI is actually running through the document content and reading through it to see what matches, to see what clauses does it need to check off. Let's see if it pulled out already. So it takes it a few minutes sometimes to do this, and we can see here's one that already pulled that information in. Give it another second here. But what it's going to do is say, okay, well, what is a basic summary of this? It'll extract that summary and add it to the summary field. It will add the two different parties in. It will add in the clauses and the document type as well into this document. And so let's see if we, so there it did. So now it's extracted that data. You can see it pulled out the contracting parties, pulled out the law, it pulled out the summary and the clauses that are actually in this document, and assigned it a specific type out of the types that were available here. And so just the cusp of some of the things that we can do with AI, but it is something as a company we feel is important, obviously in the future of business. And so we want to leverage those tools to help you do more with less. So great new prototype, and hope to see that built into Legito in the near future. Right. So that's the end of new features I wanted to demonstrate today. I'm not going to demonstrate more. I'm going to discuss a few more items that are coming up near term and maybe a little bit further out as well. So the first is improved form creation. So in Legito, there will soon be a release that will allow you, when you're creating a form in Legito, you will have a new quick actions button that will allow you to quickly create a clause for different input types. So you can see here, you have this button, you click and it'll say, oh, do you want to add a text input or a single choice or multi-choice, a toggle? And based on what you select there, it's going to input a clause into your form in the template editor with a label and the actual input type formatted in a nice way. So it'll be kind of this nice kind of standardized form with label over field with a full width for those fields to get a very nice looking, a very nice looking input form, and it'll be at the click of a button. So you could do all of this manually, but it would be multiple clicks, whereas this can allow you to do that a lot faster with this new quick action for building form templates. So coming very soon, already in development. I have even a development server I could demonstrate this on. I'm not going to demonstrate it today, but just because the images show exactly what's going to happen. All right, so another coming soon. This is maybe a little bit more important for the United States than some of the other areas, and I'm in the US, so I'm a little bit biased, but I'll mention it. So there are some additional localization options for workspaces, specifically imperial units. So as Legito started as a European company and has grown across globally, we're continuing to make improvements as we are in each global region, and this is one that will help us service that even better across the world. All right, so final coming soon items worth mentioning here. I'm not going to demonstrate these, but talk about them, and we will definitely have a big kickoff and demonstration of the last one mentioned here at some point in the future when it's released. But first, manage signatures dashboard widget. So you can already drop a document in for signature in a widget in Legito, but this manage signatures dashboard is going to add some additional functionality to allow you to do things like choose which signature provider to use for that dashboard widget and other things to help you drive that process a little bit better, much like the choosing a workflow for the drop area for a new document. We're enhancing that managed signature dashboard widget to really give you some ability to control and manage your signatures in Legito. We will be having a new default dashboard release for all new workspaces. So it's not going to affect it. We're not going to overwrite your existing dashboards for existing customers, but for any new workspace, that default dashboard is going to be enhanced with some of these new features as well. Legito nodes and Zapier. This one's exciting, and this one's going to be released very soon in the next few weeks. And so this one is some built-in Legito nodes into Zapier. So if you're a Zapier user, let me back up. If you don't know what Zapier is a cloud integration solution. So it's basically a solution in today's world of so many cloud apps, Office 365, Teams, Slack, so many G Suite apps. They're all in the cloud, right? So you can access them in the cloud. Legito is a cloud app as well. So Zapier is a tool that allows you to more point and click integration between these types of tools. So Legito already has a push API and a REST API that facilitate these tools to be able to have integrations. And so not only Zapier, but other tools like Make, etc., Power Apps from Microsoft, you could use those already with Legito APIs to integrate with Legito. But what this does is it has some built-in Legito events and nodes and objects in Zapier to make it that much easier So rather than having to define what those interfaces are, you can now drag in an interface that just says, hey, when there's a new document created in Legito, trigger this event. And so there are some of these events that will be built right into Zapier to make Zapier integrations much easier for you, for Legito customers. So a very exciting tool for integration that is widely used. So we're very happy to release that, have the ability for users to use it. Lastly, this was mentioned at Power Up over the summer and continues to be a huge focus for us as we hope to release it here the beginning of the year next year, is our updated document editor. And that's going to bring a lot of new features and functionality. I'm not going to talk about all of them here. Of course, we'll have an introduction to that. I've got a screenshot of some of the design, so not the actual thing, but some of the design mock-up, but a few things about this that are important for us. Number one is we'll have an even greater, I just lost the word I wanted to say, consistency with what a Word document will look like in the browser. So, even Microsoft, as they moved to Microsoft Word Online, had a lot of challenges with displaying in the browser what a Word document might look like in Microsoft Word. Legito is an HTML rendering of those documents today as well. And so in our current document editor, it very closely resembles and many things look exactly the same as the document, but there are things that could be improved. So one of our major features that we're focusing on is that reliability on that document in the document editor will look like the document that is downloaded. And so that will be closing that gap even further. What you see should be what you get in the exported document. As well, it gives us a code foundation to help us be even more flexible in our development in the future as well. So there's been some underpinning things there that have helped us grow even faster as we build this. And then lastly, there are going to be some nice new features added about how you might be able to display and input your fields, whether it's in the way that you see it today in Legito, where the fields are in line with the document content, a separate input form, or like you see in the screenshot, I may even have an input form that's kind of automatically pulled to the left while I'm seeing my document content on the right. So some great new things coming in the new year with this new document editor from Legito that are very exciting. All right. So with that, this webinar is a little bit different format. I hope you've enjoyed it. We've done a little bit more of a demonstration on my own, almost as if I were on a call with you. And I don't see any questions in the question Q&A yet. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask those and I'll answer those now. I'll stay on for maybe another minute here waiting and talking as we discuss those questions. And I just want to take the time for those who did join in live today for the webinar. Greatly appreciate you taking the time out. I hope this was beneficial to you. If you are joining and watching later as a video, I hope, again, that this information is useful for you and helps you see what's new, what you might be able to utilize if you're already a Legito customer, or what might excite you to become a Legito customer in the near future. Thank you. Sure appreciate your time.